Oh no, Ramon. The worst thing's happened. The ANC's going to lose more metros. They're going to be finished. Apparently. I hope. I pray.
Um,
But oh no, the ANC is done.
yeah, I mean, I don't pray. I think I know it will happen. And this is something we've been saying on this channel for the longest period of time. The ANC is turning into a rural party, and if once it turns into a rural party, it dies because rural people are generally a bit older, less educated, and the dynamics of South Africa are urbanization. So therefore, if you appeal to people in the urban areas, your party will grow. The ANC hasn't been able to do that in the longest period of time, so they are on their way out. So there was polling data that was released over the course of the last week. So front page of a report yesterday, ANC is polling nationally at 38%. That is a bit lower than I expected because I was expecting
Mm.
Cyril to give a 10-point bump. So maybe they're at 46, 47%. But it's like Cyril's bump is no longer to be found, much like his money at his farm.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, we're saying this tongue in cheek, like, oh no, they're losing power. But actually, that's not really tongue in cheek at all. They are genuinely losing power, and it's a good thing. Um, but as you very rightly pointed out in the past, with Cyril Ramaphosa, the ANC polls above 40%. The problem is, even as this news article highlights, is that Cyril's not in the good graces of people at the moment because he's tainted. Probably because of Pala Pala and the whole farm kind of bullshit. So Cyril's kind of bump that the ANC expects to get from him by having him in power isn't really happening. So you may, as the public, I know the last time we actually did a video on this not that long ago. One of the comments on it says, "Where's the poll data? I think you're making this stuff up." And well, here it is. So here's your poll data. And what's interesting about it is we'll go through a little bit more about what the poll data says. But another natural reaction, which we typically get when we do these videos, is that people kind of complain and say, yeah, but that just means that the EFF will take into power. And we actually going to be worse off. And so that's like a common argument. I mean, the ANC has kind of fostered this thing of if you vote for the DA, you're going to get apartheid back, and if you vote for the EF, you're going to get like a dictatorship. And that kind of ploy has been the way of the ANC to keep themselves into power. But this article concludes that the EFF remains a 10% party. They say they've
Yeah.
actually shown no growth beyond 10%. So if you're worried about the DA or losing out and the EFF becoming the next big predominant party, it actually shows that the DA is slightly up. They're in a better position than they were, as is Action SA, as is the IFP. But the EFF remains static at 10%. What do you make of that?
So, I mean, here's the most interesting part of all of this. So, according to the poll, as we were saying, that the DA is at roughly 25%, which is I think that's 7% more than their poll. I think that at the election they had 20% last year for the local government election,
Mm.
and they had 20% in 2019 for the national election. So the DA is doing extremely well at 27%. IFP is up to 6%. Actually, say they haven't been in a national election, but they are polling at about 6% nationally.
Yeah.
All this is excellent. And once again, the EFF is stuck at 10%. And we have said this on the channel numerous times. The EFF has no interest in running the country. They just want to loot and pillage and be like the little Teletubbies of the ANC. They want the ANC to be as communist
Mm.
as possible, and with the EFF's help, they will nationalize everything and make themselves really rich and really, really powerful. But the EFF has no, what would I call it? They don't want to run
They've
it.
got no momentum,
Too
mate.
much.
They
No,
they
it's
got no
too much
momentum.
work.
They got.
It's too much work. They don't
Mm,
want to run it. They don't want to be Minister of Finance and look at spreadsheets all day. They want to go to
mm.
parties in Ibiza and get a salary and do some corrupt deals in different parts of the government. Like they don't care about running
And
the
buy
country.
Gucci Armani
Yeah, and buy
while telling
Gucci.
you that you can't buy your own clothes because that would be wasteful and
Yeah,
racist or something.
yeah.
But they want to
So
have Gucci.
I'm really not concerned about the EFF at all. So I mean, the primary thing is the ANC is polling at 38%. Now, a poll is a snapshot in time. It's not a prediction of an
Mm.
election. So it's what people think today. That can change, right? The ANC could still get 46% of the election next time. We don't know. But
Yeah, very much so.
this is dire for the ANC. This is not the kill shot, but very, very close. And I think it's a combination of Cyril being useless. It's a combination of the fracturing of the ANC as we see it, especially in KZN. And most importantly, let us not take away the DA is actually doing good things. There's been no scandals from the DA in the past 3 years. I don't know if you noticed. Before John Steenhuisen was
Mm.
leader, under Musi Mamani, there was a scandal every week with black people leaving and racism and this and this. Since that
Oh, but
has happened,
black people are still leaving, and
but no one
some of them are
notices.
still citing racism.
But no one
But
cares.
it's like,
Who cares?
yeah, I think the problem is that John Steenhuisen had when he came into the party power, though, was the fact that there were certain individuals that were like larger than life personalities, like Van Damme. She had a great big Twitter following, and if she said something that was really stupid, typical kind of boardroom or classroom type journalists that got all their news from Twitter would pick it up and it would be front page news, because that's far easier than actually going out and investigating proper news. So he had a hard time dealing with that. Musi never dealt with it. He was just like, who cares? And so he's had quite a lot of that to contend with, like trying to get people to talk from the same hymn sheet, which I think he's largely done. But every time he's done that, it's like, you're taking away my freedom, therefore you racist. Um, and that again, because those people have public platforms on places like Twitter and that, their voices get amplified, and sometimes people then just go, well, where there's smoke there's fire, it must be true. So he's had a lot of that to contend with. But I think you're right that there's no, like, should we say, big personalities, and that's also a con though. Like, let's not look at that and go, oh, that's all great.
Yeah,
It's also a bit of a disadvantage. I mean, the DA doesn't have any big personalities, so yeah, sometimes they do a good job, and obviously their tagline is the DA difference, the DA gets things done, and nobody doubts that. But as much as I hate to say it, in the world of politics is a lot like the world of entertainment. It's like
it
big
is
personalities
entertainment.
carry, you know,
Politics is like WWE. Like you need a
100%.
story, you need like fun, you need rivalries. The DA doesn't have any of that for now. But what they do
Yeah,
have in spades is a
that's good
tradition of
governance.
yeah, but and also a tradition of coalition politics. Right, they took over the Cape
Mm.
Town with 8 parties or 7 parties in 2006. They held it together, so they took it over completely. They took Johannesburg, they took Tshwane, and this week they might take away Durban, and they might also take away Nelson Mandela Bay or Quebec Kabuki or whatever the
I
fuck
know
you call it these days.
Kabuki, as you call it,
Kabuki, that's right.
but
And
let's just call it Port Elizabeth, because that's even the signboards around the place are still showing Port Elizabeth. In
yes,
fact, Port Elizabeth is still buying new trucks, believe it or not, and they've all got Port Elizabeth written on the side. So
excellent.
okay, but they that's not a if, that's definitely happened. So what's happened in that region is they've signed a coalition deal with every party there. The way that the ANC got into power before, I know all this because of Ronaldo. Ronaldo gives me all the in scoops, and as you know, he's a councillor there.
Yes,
So the ANC got the same amount of votes as the DA. They were both on like 47% or something stupid, or 43%. And they used a fringe party, which I think at the time was PAC, or not PAC. What's that guy? Gator McKenzie's party. What's that? Patriotic Alliance.
Patriotic
They
Alliance.
sided with, yeah. So they sided with the ANC, and they basically gave the ANC the metro. Um, and there were loads of reasons for that. So, I think the main reason was they wanted to be, the mayor of the city, despite only getting like 3% of the vote or something stupid. Um, but they gave it over. But the problem now is that their city's so badly run with watershedding that everybody's going, no, we can't deal with this. So they have done a brand new coalition deal, which they've all signed to say that they will go into coalition with the DA-led
Yep.
coalition. So what's now got to happen is they're going to have their next council meeting, which you can bet your bottom dollar it's all going to get like, it's all going to be disrupted, and
Yeah.
they're going to perform and postpone, and people will walk out, and the usual thing that you see. But they've got to have that meeting, then they've got to do a motion of no confidence, and then they've got to do the voting. Now, the only signatory, I say signatory, it's like verbal signatory to the agreements, the EFF. So the EFF has said they'll vote with the DA, but they haven't signed their coalition agreement because they say they won't. They won't sign an agreement to work with the guys, but they said that they will side with them. So as long as the FF does, which I have no reason at this point to believe they won't, yeah, it's a done deal, mate. That's a done deal. It's just got to follow process.
Yeah, that is a non-deal. Like the EFF played both ways. They like say, yeah, we don't like the
Mm.
ANC, but we'll never sign a coalition agreement that imposes duties on us as a political party. So we'll just side with
Mm.
whoever the hell wants whatever we can provide at any given time. They are literally like the mercenaries of the political the political sphere in South Africa. But if Durban goes well, if Nelson Mandela Bay goes well, the ANC
And
is
you're
left
screwed,
with
mate.
the ANC are left with two metros, Buffalo City
Mm.
and Mangaung. So Bloemfontein. I have no idea where Buffalo City is. Where is that? That's in the Eastern Cape somewhere.
No, that's East London, mate.
Oh, East London. There we go. Okay, no one
They
gives a shit
renamed
about.
it.
No one gives a shit about East London, so we can just. That's not even a real metro. Let's be honest with ourselves. Let alone Bloemfontein. But anyway, ANC will be left with only two metros out of the eight. Where
Mm.
is the patronage network for the ground forces of the ANC going to come from without the metros in their hands? It's going to be very difficult.
Yeah, and it's already becoming difficult, especially, one of the other passionate networks was Escom. Oh, wait, they got no money. It's Denel. Oh, wait, they got no money. Transnet. Oh, wait, they got no money. I suppose from maybe the Whiteys. Oh, wait, they got no money either.
They're immigrating at record rates as well. So, no.
Yeah, I think they're a bit stuck. So,
Very much so. Very much so. So,
oh
I
no,
mean,
the ANC are losing.
yeah. And we told you so. On this platform, on Morning Shot, we've been saying this for a long time. Expect a coalition agreement government in 2024, and I was very surprised that Cyril's bump has decreased by 10 points. But now, whether he's there or not, it doesn't matter. ANC is polling at 38%, and I don't see it getting any better for the foreseeable future because, well, nothing's being done at any given place. So there we go. That really is the end of the video. So instead of trying to immigrate to some shithole country where you pay €4 for a Coke Zero, why not just hang in there? There could be far more interesting things to do in South Africa than move anywhere else, really.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Enjoying France, are you?
Not really. I need to go back now. Almost. Almost. But anyway,
Uh,
that's it for the video. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you soon.
Take it easy.
Just
Bye.
cheers.